So let's talk about illness and injury. So the most popular one is probably Thieves Essential Oil Blend. The story behind Thieves goes like this. In the days of the plague, there were a band of thieves who went around stealing from the dead and the dying, yet they were not coming down with the plague. They were doing this for a long time and they were able to evade persecution, but eventually they were captured, and in exchange for more lenient sentence, the authorities told them that they needed to know how they kept from getting the plague. And these thieves were the children of herbalists. And so they knew which herbs had antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, and antiparasitic properties. So they used those herbs. So the founder of Young Living actually formulated the Thieves Essential Oil Blend based on the herbs that these band of thieves used to keep themselves from getting the plague. And this has been used by many a household for fighting everything from coughs and colds and infections of all sorts. So that one is very popular, and it has a really nice cinnamon clove smell to it. The next one, which is really popular for injury, is a blend called Panaway, which has some wintergreen in there along with some other essential oils, which is really therapeutic and has, wintergreen oil has properties very similar to aspirin, tremendous anti-inflammatory properties. So when you put Panaway on a horse with a bowed tendon or a person with a sprained ankle, basically the same condition, it can really provide a lot of relief very soon. Lavender is probably most famous for not only its calming properties, but also for its therapeutic benefits to the skin. It has been used for a long time for burns. It will take the sting out and help the burn to heal without scarring. But you may have to reapply quite frequently because all the cells that are damaged there will use up that essential oil and you'd have to reapply. But lavender is one of our two most popular oils. Purification is another one of my favorites. It has a lovely lemony scent because there's some lemongrass amongst some other oils that are in there. But that's the one that I mentioned that took the smell of the metal polish right out of the air. So when I go to hotels, I like to put a few drops of purification into the vent at the hotel room to get that musty hotel smell out of the air. And of course, it's also actually really good for bug bites and tick bites. If you get a tick and you pull the tick off, you can put purification in there to help neutralize anything that the tick might have been carrying. So for topical application, there's all sorts of options. For every part of the body, you have an option there. In the top left, you see the woman dropping oils onto the back of the horse. That's a part of a procedure called the raindrop technique, which is used on all sorts of animals, and it was developed for humans with scoliosis originally, but it was then known to not only align the energy centers, but also have some tremendous immune stimulating and detoxifying properties. So there's a whole system that goes with that, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Or, like I mentioned earlier, if there's a place where there's an injury, then you put the oil there. So this is an example of someone putting essential oils on the leg of a horse that's injured. Also on local wounds, like I said, if I take a tick off my horse, I'm going to put purification oil on there. But what I'll tell you is to get the tick off the horse, I put a drop of peppermint oil on there, and the tick just comes right out. And then purification in case that tick had anything, was carrying anything. And also for emotional balancing, again, for horses or humans. For local application, for local pain, it's not a bad idea if you want to cover a large area to start with applying a thin coating of this V6 oil or a very light vegetable oil so that you can more easily spread the essential oils around a larger area. And don't be afraid to really work it in there and apply as frequently as you see necessary. Unlike drugs, the frequent application of essential oils is not harmful, so use it as much as you need to. It's not uncommon for a single dose to be all that you need, but if it's a significant injury or illness and you feel like you need a little bit more, the animal needs a little bit more, no harm. One other way to do emotional balancing with horses, not only can you let them smell it, but if you put a little bit of essential oils on your hands and rub their ears, it can be very soothing and relaxing for them as well. And I've seen a lot of horses basically turn inside out. They just love that feeling of their ears being scratched with a little bit of essential oil in there to give them more bang for their buck. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the ingestion of essential oils, and I'm going to, at this point, remind you that I am talking explicitly about therapeutic grade essential oils only, not any other brand. So in the horse, you can just put some essential oils in their feed, in their water, or directly into their mouth. Depending on your horse, it may readily eat the feed or drink the water with essential oils in there, but if not, you can just dump the oils right inside their lip. It's the same method that you would give a horse a homeopathic remedy, but with essential oils instead. Humans, you can also add it to your food, add it to your water, or rice milk, almond milk, something like that. You can take them directly in the mouth. Some of them can be pretty powerful. I've put peppermint and ancatea essential oils directly in my mouth, and then there's a few others too you can actually apply to the spot where your soft palate and your hard palate meet. Just a little side note here that your dura, which is the case of your brain, the sac that encases your brain, actually attaches where your hard palate and your soft palate meet. So if you put a drop of essential oil like frankincense on your thumb and then put your thumb in your mouth where your hard palate and soft palate meet, it can directly treat or just get to your brain at that point. But a very simple way to take essential oils orally is to just use capsules. So you can actually buy empty capsules either through Young Living or most health food stores have empty capsules, and you can just put drops inside, and they're a vegetable-based capsule, and your body will digest those, and the oils will be available to you. So popular oils for ingestion include peppermint essential oil, which is tremendous for gas and digestive upset. It was probably the first oil that my husband fell in love with. He used to get some just like upset stomach or indigestion if he ate too much or he ate something really spicy, and putting 1 or 2 drops of peppermint oil in a glass of water and mixing it up and drinking that water would quiet that fire just immediately. Dosage is an essential oil blend that have a lot of culinary herbs in there that is great for digestive issues like colic with horses and humans, and things like food poisoning, that sort of thing. People will typically turn to dosage. We've already mentioned thieves. It's nature's antibiotic, we like to call it, and so it actually does come in capsule form in a product that we carry called Inner Defense. So if you don't want to buy capsules, but you want to take thieves internally, or there's swine flu going around your kid's school, you can just get the Inner Defense capsules. And then frankincense, with its just wide variety of uses, can be ingested as well. Most of them can be. Those are just popular. So maybe at this point you're like, well, how do you know what to use? And nobody's born knowing this information. We all have to learn it somewhere. And so until it gets committed to memory, we have tools and resources that we turn to provide us with the information we need, for not only for ourselves and our animals, but also for those people we know and care about. So probably the Bible for aromatherapists is the Essential Oils Desk Reference, which can be a difficult book to get your hands on. They're very popular, and you can typically find them on eBay or Amazon.com. The publisher is Life Science Publishing, or perhaps your local Young Living distributor may have some available. I know I have a few in stock myself. So we turn to that, and it's divided up. I mean, you can see Jen's looking at it in that picture on the left. It's actually this huge 3-ring binder that has just boatloads of information about the uses of the oils and the applications and the science behind these oils as well. It's really a valuable, valuable book. As far as animals go, just this year, Dr. Melissa Shelton, she is a veterinarian here in Minnesota and a good friend of ours, she published the Animal Desk Reference, which is the animal version of the Essential Oils Desk Reference. So you can look up colic, you can look up fleas, you can look up worms. There's all sorts of things in there, and it will tell you which essential oils she's used in her clinic and have found to be the most effective, and she'll tell you how to use them. And then there's other resources too, reference guide for essential oils, and that Life Science Publishing or AbundantHealth.com has a lot of brochures and books and great informative information. These are just 3 resources, and there really are dozens, if not more. So now we're going to walk through a few common ailments for horses and humans and just talk about the essential oils that we would turn to and that many people turn to in these situations. So for sure, colic is probably the biggest concern of horse owners. It's probably what kills more horses than anything else. And how is that different than an upset stomach for a person? I mean, it really can depend on what the cause of the colic is for sure, but it is the same symptom. It's a stomach ache. So when the symptom is the same, the oil is the same. So dosage, as I mentioned, is really popular for colic or human digestive upset. Peppermint, again, those two, most people will use them both together. And peppermint oil, just so you know, is a driving oil, so it actually will speed up the effects of whatever oil it follows. So if you apply dosage first, and you can just rub that on your tummy or take it internally, but if you follow that with peppermint afterwards, it amplifies or accelerates the effects of the dosage. So that's a nice little trick for you. And then peace and calming, because it's upsetting when, especially for our horses who are prey animals, when they're down and sick and injured, it is very distressing for them because they're very vulnerable to predators in their evolutionary state. So peace and calming can help them to just relax and get through this treatment while you're working with them. But let me just say that we all call the vet. We just hope that by the time the vet gets there, the horse is already fine because we've treated them with oils. But you have to do the right thing by the animal. But for sure, rather than reaching for a bute or banamine, you can reach for these essential oils first. Another example, a bowed tendon or a sprained ankle. Okay, same thing, different body, that's all. Popular, Panaway for horse and human. Aroma Seas, which is another blend we have that's really great for pain and inflammation. Relieve It is another one, and all of these things do similar things. All of these oils do similar things, but with different plants, because if it's the immune system of the plant, it's going to have some similar benefits for similar types of plants and plant formulations. But I want to talk for a minute about Copaiba. This has become really critical to my work in my office. Copaiba is known for one thing, it is a tremendous anti-inflammatory oil. But what's great about it, because some people, even though they're natural scents, some people don't like the essential oils because they do have a scent. But the scent of Copaiba is very light, and some people say it has no scent at all. But my favorite reason for Copaiba is that it's an oil amplifier. So if I'm using an oil that's a little bit pricey because it's very, very difficult to extract it from the plant, or the plant is not as popular of a species as something like peppermint or lavender, and some of these essential oils that can get a little bit pricey, whenever I use those oils, I will always use Copaiba with it because I'll get more power out of that expensive oil. So something like helichrysum that can work tremendous wonders for nerve conditions. I used it in my clinic for a person that has neuropathy, and it just worked tremendously. But I amplified the effects of the helichrysum by using Copaiba. And that is put in some of these blends as well. Deep Relief is the one oil I take with me when I'm having to carry a little purse, like I'm going to a wedding or something, and I can only fit one oil in there. It's Deep Relief that I'm going to bring, and that is just heaven for aches and pains.